All right, we are live. See if anybody shows up or not. Yeah, well, wait. I guess I'll work on another TikTok idea. See here, who's going to win the AFC East this year? That's the Bills, who will come in second. Excuse me. Let's go with. I think it's going to be the Patriots. Patriots don't have an offensive coordinator, really. Their best weapon is Devontae Parker. Defense is all right. I mean, you know what? I think the Dolphins can finish second. This webcam's not freaking best in the world. All right. So, Patriots, Jets. AFC South, that's going to be won by the Colts. Hey, how's it going? Colts. See here, the AFC. Whatever. It's going to come in second in that division. Probably the Titans if Derrick Henry can stay healthy. Do I think the Jags can edge out the Texans? I don't think they can. I think it's going to be the Texans in third. AFC West. Well, this is where it's going to get interesting. I think the Chargers are going to win it. And let's see here. Chargers, Chiefs, Raiders, Broncos. And I'm not saying the Broncos are going to be bad. I just think everybody else in that division is going to be really good. In AFC North. Actually, I think the Vikings are going to win that. Vikings, Packers, Lions, Bears, NFC East, give me the Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, and then the New York Football Giants. NFC South. Unless Brady decides to fall off a cliff this year, I'm still giving this division to the Bucs. Saints, Panthers, Falcons. I think the Falcons are going to be the worst team in the NFL this year. And NFC West. Give me the Rams. Who's going to come in second in the NFC West? Is it going to be the Niners? Yeah, I'm going to go with Niners. Cards. D-Hop is suspended for 6 games, and by the time he gets back, that means Kyla Murray's only got a couple of weeks to be good before he starts falling off like he does every year. So we're going to go with Rams, Niners, Cardinals, and Seahawks. I wouldn't be surprised if the Seahawks had the number 2 overall pick. All right, so since nobody is here, I guess I'll go ahead and jump right on into it. Starting out at number 32, I have, well, might as well. Got ice cream on my shorts. Let's see. Ranking NFL quarterbacks. And number 32, I have Drew Lock or Geno Smith. Doesn't really matter. Neither one of them are going to be good. And 31, I'm going to go with Marcus Mariota. He was okay in Tennessee, but they shipped him out for Tannehill. Then he couldn't beat out Derek Carr. So I'm going to go ahead and say Mariota's number 31 because I'd still rather have him over Drew Lock any day of the week. Next up, I thought he would be good, but after years of watching him play in the league, it's pretty obvious he's not going to be good. And that's Danny Dimes. No offense to any of the Giants fans. And at number 29, I have Jacoby Persette because I think Deshaun Watson's going to be suspended the entire season. It's looking a little less likely now, which is ridiculous, but I assume Jacoby's going to start at least 12 games for him. Unless they trade for Jimmy G. Next up, this is where it starts to get hard because everybody's very mid here. Nobody really stands out above the rest. So I'm going to go ahead and say Justin Fields at 28. He had some good aspects to him last season, but I don't know. It's tough, especially seeing as he doesn't have a whole lot of weapons and his offensive line's kind of crappy. At 20. Hi, Junie. How you doing? At 27, I have Trey Lance because we only got to see him a little bit last year. Couldn't really make out heads or tails of him. So for now, I'm going to have him at 27. 26, I have one of the later quarterbacks taken in last year's draft, Davis Mills. Because honestly, he looked pretty good, especially with the weapons that he had. Next up is the MILF Hunter, Zach Wilson. Jimmy to the Browns. You think he's going to get traded to the Browns? Just checking to see, make sure that didn't actually happen. Oh, God, that's gross. Let's see. Yeah, there's no movement on Jimmy G yet. All right. Was it Zach Wilson? And Zach Wilson had some okay moments last year, but most of the time his backup looked better than he did. Then I have at 24 Trevor Lawrence. I'm still basing this completely off of how he looked at Clemson because Urban Meyer was a disaster, to say the least. The people he hired were awful. So I'm going to go ahead and have Trevor Lawrence still at 24. Hopefully he looks better this year than he did last year. I agree. I think Zach Wilson will be better this year, too. Hopefully, I just hope he's not good against Pittsburgh. That's all I'm saying. So I'm going to that game with my dad, so hopefully he throws like 2 pick sixes. At 23, I have Tua Tagovailoa because, I mean, that first year he was in the NFL, I think he was still recovering from that injury. Last year he looked okay. Kenny Pickett or Mitch? I think Mitch is going to play the majority of the games this season. At least I hope. I think Mitch is better than Kenny is, even though I'm not that high on Mitch. 23, Tua. I think he can have an okay season, especially with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle down there. At 22, I have Mac Jones. It may just be because he played for the Patriots, but he looked pretty decent last year. Wasn't too bad of a pick. I don't think he can become much more than he was last year, just a mid-tier quarterback. At 21, I have the team hopper himself, Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is Carson Wentz. I mean, he had that one really good season, and after he got hurt, he's never been the same. And from what I hear from people that know people, I hear Carson Wentz isn't a good dude. Here he's like a really crappy teammate. I don't think he's like a murderer or anything like that, but yeah, he's apparently not a very good leader. At 20, that's where I have Mitch Trubisky. because I think he will start more games than Kenny Pickett is. Well, English, not my best language. But yeah. Mitch got the Bears to the playoffs with Matt Nagy a couple times. So I think he can win 7, 8, 9 games with the Steelers this year. We'll have to wait and see. At 19, everybody's telling me this guy's really good, but he's been in the league for so long, and I still don't see it. It's Jameis Winston. He had that 30 for 30 season, and you throw 30 interceptions in a season, it's going to take a while to scrub that nasty taste out of your mouth. At 18, I have the new Carolina Panthers quarterback, Baker Mayfield. Now, as I called him as a Steelers fan, Baker, interception maker, but he was still pretty okay. Last year, half his shoulder was hanging off, so I can't really blame him for having a bad year last year. But, yeah. I think his last play as a Brown was him getting sacked by TJ Watt. I think that was his last play. I agree, Junie. I think Mitch is more experienced. Pickett, we'll have to wait and see. I didn't watch too much of his college film. Can I help you, Thor? Come in. Say hi. Say hi to the camera. But, yeah. Maybe next year, Kenny will play a few games. Let's see here. Where was I? Baker. Okay. At 17, I have Jared Goff. Jared Goff's a little bit above mid quarterback. He wasn't good enough for the Rams to take them to the Super Bowl. Well, he took them to the Super Bowl. He just wasn't good enough to win it. Took him to the Super Bowl. That was mainly Todd Gurley and that defense carrying him. But I think Jared Goff's all right. Next up, I have, at 16, I have Derek Carr. I really look forward to see what Derek Carr is going to do with Devontae Adams this year. He's also got Hunter Renfrow is pretty good too. He's got a really good tight end in Darren Waller. So this is the year. I mean, come on. Derek Carr doesn't do good this year. There's nothing more that the Raiders can do for him because he's got some studs around him. The offensive line's a little shaky. Josh Jacobs is a pretty good running back. But as far as weapons in the receiving game, doesn't get much better than what they have this year. At 15, I have Ryan Tannehill. And this is the point where I'm like, I don't know about this because Ryan Tannehill has his moments where he can be a really good quarterback, and he also has moments where he can be a bonehead. And you're like, what are you doing, man? Why did they get rid of Mariota for you? And then other times you're like, yeah, it makes sense now. So, Ryan Tannehill is really lacking weapons this year. He's got that rookie. I can't think of his name right now, but yeah. I'm going to go ahead and put Ryan Tannehill at 15. And number 14, his division mate, Indianapolis Colts quarterback, Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is famous for blowing a 28-3 lead, but he's still a pretty good quarterback. I think, yeah, he's way better than Carson Wentz was. Thank you. Trey Lance, that's what it is. I don't know too much about Treylon Burks, but hopefully he's good, seeing as he's pretty much the only option in the pass game. I mean, you could always just hand it off to Derrick Henry 60 times a game, see how that goes, but don't know if it will go too well. Oh, I don't know how I got back to Tannehill. Matt Ryan. Uh, Michael Pittman's pretty good. That tight end I like just retired, but yeah, you got Matt Ryan, and he can do what he does best and just turn around and hand it off to Jonathan Taylor and hope for the best. He's got a pretty good offensive line to stand behind, and Matt Ryan made some receivers that were looked pretty decent last year in Atlanta. So this year, all he has to do is get them down to the end zone, and Jonathan Taylor will punch it in. And at number 13, I have Kirk Cousins. I think it's got a lot to do with his receivers and a little less to do with him, because Justin Jefferson is absolutely amazing. Adam Thielen is pretty good, and they made him look great last year. We'll have to wait and see how he looks this year. At 12, I have Jalen Hurts. Who's your NFL team, Junie, by the way? Because I don't know. And at number 12, I have Jalen Hurts. He showed a little bit of promise last year, relied a little bit too much on his legs, like early Lamar Jackson. Maybe he can take a step up and have an MVP season like Lamar did, but that's yet to be seen. His team did get him a pretty good wide receiver in A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith is pretty good. So we're going to have to see how Jalen Hurts does this year. At number 11, I have Dak Prescott. A lot of people don't like Dak, but I think he's a solid quarterback. I wouldn't mind having him as the Steelers quarterback. Personally, I think he's way better than Mitch Trubisky, that's for sure. And he has some lapse in judgment, like the playoff game this year where he decided to run the ball about 15 yards with 6 seconds left on the clock. But, yeah, Dak's an okay quarterback. We'll have to see what he can do with CeeDee Lamb this year. Lamar Jackson, Mr. Waiting on a Contract himself, is at number 10. Lamar did have that MVP season where he was absolutely great, but I don't think he's quite lived up to expectations ever since. So let's see if he can get back to it. He was having a pretty good season last year until he got hurt, doing a flip into the end zone like a moron. But hey, they did get rid of his best wide receiver though, so we'll have to see how him and Mark Andrews do when they're riding solo. No Hollywood this year. At number 9, I have the shortest man on the planet, Kyla Murray. I know quite a bit about football, Junie. Hockey, I love to watch it, but outside of like what position players are, and like I can't really tell you anything about fundamentals. Love to watch it, love the teams, love jerseys, love logos. I love most players, but yeah, outside of I can't tell you anything about like how to play the puck or when to drop back, like any of that stuff. I can't tell you that. Yeah, and then at number 9 we have Kyler Murray. With no D-Hop early in the season, it's going to really suck for him, especially since every single year he falls off late. So, probably because he's tiny and getting thrown into the turf by 300-pound monsters all the time. You know, you'll be broken by December, too. And number 8, I have the newly acquired Bronco, Russell Wilson. Russ had a pretty decent offseason. Had a pretty decent season last year before he got hurt. And I think he came back way too early with that. I believe the torn ligaments were in his thumb. Yeah, came back way too early from that injury, so he looked like crap at the end. And he's out of Seattle now. I don't think his receivers are quite as good as they were in Seattle. DK and Tyler Lockett versus Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton. I think we're going to take DK and Lockett on that one. But I think the Broncos have an overall better team around them. So it's going to be interesting to see him compete in the AFC West. At number 7, might get some hate for this one, I have Joe Burrow. Burrow had a great end of the season last year. Took the Bengals all the way to the Super Bowl to lose to the LA Rams. But he had a pretty good season last year. Having great wide receivers like Jamar Chase and Higgins, T. Higgins. That's another. He had great wide receivers. Along with Tyler Boyd as a wide receiver 3. Not a bad wide receiver 3. Joe Mixon's great. They definitely improved that offensive line. So I think Joe Burrow's going to have another great year. And number 6, I have the Super Bowl champion, Matthew Stafford. He has always looked great, even as a Lion. Made Megatron one of the best wide receivers ever. Cooper Kupp had a hell of a year last year. I can't wait to see what they do with a second year. But I have Stafford at number 6. The only 5 quarterbacks I have above him. At number 5, Justin Herbert. Herbert's just getting his career started, and he's been a monster. I mean, yeah, but it's going to be interesting to see what he does with. Oh, shit, I forgot who it was on. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what he can do this year. Mike Williams is back. Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler. They got some good pieces. So, I think he might beat his passing yards from last year. I think it's possible. And number 4, I have TB12. Now, this is just for this season. Obviously, Tom Brady is unfortunately the best quarterback of all time. But yeah, Tom Brady is probably still going to be really good this year because he was last year. Not much has changed. I mean, he'll have Godwin for a few less weeks than he did last year. But I still think he can have a top season at quarterback. And number 3, I have Aaron Rodgers. He may have lost Davante Adams, but he's good every year, so you know how it is. And number 2, I have Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes lost his number 1 weapon. He did get Juju Smith-Schuster, which is a downgrade from Tyreek Hill, but he's still okay. And he still has that monster of a tight end, Travis Kelce. So I think he'll have another really good year at quarterback. But I don't think he's putting up another 50 touchdown year like he did his second year. And process of elimination. Right. MVS. I forgot about MVS. But I don't know. MVS didn't look too great with he looked okay with Rodgers, but Mahomes isn't that much better than Rodgers where it'll make a huge difference. You get what I'm saying? I think Scantling will have a good year just because he's needed more, but I don't think he's going to become a Davante Adams or a Tyreek Hill or anything crazy. But number 1, I have Josh Allen. Josh Allen, in my opinion, is the best quarterback in the NFL right now. He drops him off my chair. All right. Josh Allen is probably one of the best runners in the league. I'd say probably the third or fourth best runner, quarterback-wise. He has an incredible deep arm, deep ball arm. You know what I'm saying? He can throw deep. That's what I'm saying. And he made Gabriel Davis look great in the playoffs last year. Stephon Diggs is a great wide receiver. Can't wait to see what he can do this year. And that is ranking the NFL quarterbacks. You're a Chiefs fan, huh? Do you take offense to me putting Josh Allen above Mahomes? Don't get me wrong. I think Mahomes is going to be really good this year, but it's definitely going to be interesting without Tyreek Hill. All right, so who's your NHL team again? I can't remember right now. Oh, you're an Avs fan, huh? You think they're going to repeat, or you think somebody else is going to win the Cup next year? I don't have any Avs jerseys, so I'll just pull out my Golden Seals jersey to hang up. The NAHL. What league is that? NAHL. Hey, nobody said you could do that for me. NAHL hockey official list. The North American Hockey League. I've never actually heard of this league before. They made a post back in June about John Cooper, Pat Maroon, Nico Sturm, Eric Johnson, and Jack Johnson. Wow, they all played in the NAHL. I've never heard of this league before, if I'm being completely honest. I have to look into this a little bit. Let's see here. Follow. Let's see here. Who are they following? A lot of people. Okay, Phil Kessel, Penn's Foundation. All the NHL teams. Right. Yeah, I'll have to talk to Nick about it myself. Wendigo. What the hell? So, is this like Another, is this lower than the ECHL? Is this AHL equivalent? See if I can find any actual hockey posts instead of people committing to teams. Bobcats. All right. It's junior. Looks like a pretty interesting league. We'll have to see if I can keep a better eye on it. Let's see here. Any interesting hockey news going on right now? So you're an Avs fan, huh? How bad did you cringe when they dropped the cup all those times? The mud bugs, huh? Sounds close to a Harry Potter thing there. Sure. Well, Gonzo follows them. Let's hear the mud bugs. Let's see if I can find their Instagram page if they have one. Mud bugs. That's an interesting logo they got. Kind of like it. Might have to find me a jersey. I'm from close to where the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins play. So that's how I became a Pittsburgh Penguins fan. You know, I'm closer to the Philadelphia Flyers. There we go. I think I'll call myself a Mudbugs fan now. As soon as I figure out how to say the Shreveport? Shreveport? I don't know. Oh, Louisiana. Okay. So. I don't know if I got any NAHL teams around me. Let's see. NAHL. I'm just going to Google it instead of trying to find it on Instagram. Google. Oh, wow, they got teams everywhere. Looks like the closest to me might be the hat tricks. They got some pretty nice logos in this league. Like that Bobcats logo. Maine Nordiques, what? Can't just steal Quebec's name. What the hell? Or the Titans might be closer to me. I'm not sure. Let's see here. When does the NAHL season start? The regular season will commence on September 9th. That's not too far away now. How many days until September 9th?
It's 53 days until then.
Hey, just 53 days. It'll be here before you know it. I'm excited for any hockey to start. NHL, AHL, ECHL. And maybe if I can even find a game on, I'll watch the NAHL. Oh, sad day in Pittsburgh. Ah, okay. The showcase. I cannot find any information about their season actually starting. Oh, there's another link. They have a lot of games. Oh, God. I instantly clicked a link on their website, and it's just giving me like pages of the schedule. Hi, Thor. Wait, you want to come up and say hi to the camera? No, you want to lay down instead? Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm going to be hopping off here in a second. Hopefully you have a good night, Junie.